Namaskar and welcome to this exciting episode of Sattology Debunking Mythology. Sattology means science of truth or study of truth, coming from the root Sanskrit word Sat, which means truth or eternal. Combined with logos, it becomes Sattology by etymological science. Opposite of that is mythology, which was created by colonial powers against all history, but using a Sanskrit root word called myth in Sanskrit. Myth, I call it mythology, not mythology, for a very specific reason, because the Sanskrit root word is myth. And when you combine with logos, it becomes science or study of fake, lie, or imagination. You'll be shocked to know in the academic circles in the West, they do not call their own history as mythology. They call Native American history as mythology. They call Native South American history as mythology. And they call the Native European history as mythology. But the word was coined specially against Indians because they used the Indian root word myth. And there the mythology means all the Ramayana, Mahabharata, Bhagavad Puran, whatever the natives of India believe in was a fake, lie, or imagination. So I have a very, very special guest joining all the way from New Delhi. And he is a youth icon. That's what I've been told. And so without delay, let us welcome Shri Vineet Tyagi. Welcome, Vineet.
Namaskar, Aditya ji. Namaskar to everyone who is here listening to us.
So you have very interesting title I was going through. And in India, the blue tick mark on a Twitter profile is considered a big thing. In the USA, if somebody doesn't get a blue tick mark, that is considered more reliable because the other one has been verified by Twitter. It's a totally different way of thinking, looking at it. Why is that?
So I will not comment on how America say it. But in India, it's a very professional process. Means like I work in a political party, Bharatiya Janata Party, which is the largest party and the party in government right now. So when they officially say that, yes, I have this responsibility in the party, then Twitter goes to verify some account like my account. That's why it's more reliable in India. And it's reliable that you are the same exact person, what you are pretending to be. But what you are saying, how reliable is that? It depends on you and the people who are reading it.
See, the general conception is that when a private company endorses you, doesn't mean anything in the US because it's a private corporation. If they don't put blue ticks, how will they earn money? So they have to create icons for themselves. So that's what the Americans think. So, but when I go to India, they always tell me you don't have a blue tick. I said, that's more reliable now because I don't have a blue tick. My voice is independent now. So that's how it's an interpretation, it's a different interpretation. Now, I was seeing your work and what you have done. And like you said, you're the youth leader. So and our show is all about the ideology and the mindset and bringing the original strength in. So I'm going to ask you just a normal discussion on these topics. So when you talk about the youth all over the world, now, general characteristic of youth in the world is American youth is very focused. And there are three categories in America: very focused, totally lost, and third one is somewhere in the middle. Like they are going through the university campuses and all those things. I think these are the three general characteristics of youth all over the world. It's not just USA. Now, but in the case of India, the youth is gradually learning that their entire ancient history has been incorrectly told to them. And that's why they're coming on the YouTube, they're starting different channels and all those things. So how do you see this awakening of the Indian youth as a opportunity for you because you are the youth leader?
So, first of all, I would like to talk about why it was not happening before.
Yes.
And what was the reason that why why did the youth never have that kind of exposure earlier? We in India.
Viniji, just before you start, before you give the answer completely, my screen will go just the logo. That means you are fully on the screen.
Okay.
Yeah, please go ahead. Yes.
Yeah. India, we were under some foreign rule for nearly 900 years. Some people from different parts of world, earlier it was some Islamic invasion in India, and they destroyed whatever the cultural symbolic structures we had, because temples India used to have a very important role in education, in your cultural sovereignty, and even in your economic management. So what is Islamic invaders did, they destroyed all the major temples in India. Even today you will see that the prominent the prominent figures in our history, which we used to treat as gods or great men, they destroyed all the symbolic architecture, all the architecture related to these great men, these idols. So they did that, and after around 700 years of Islamic invasion, then the British came to India for 200 years. So 900 years is a very, very big time period. And British were more towards like that they want to inculcate a feeling of complexity in Indians, that you are somewhat low grade than what we are. We know many things. Even though I would like to give you an example for that. That they used to say that Vasco da Gama discovered India. So we were here, right? We were already here. We were living here for thousands of years, and from their perspective, they didn't know about us. But when they came to know about it, they were saying that they discovered India means. And even in our education system, we were reading it, that who discovered India. So when I was in class 7th, I got a question in general knowledge question paper, who discovered India. And I was wondering that who discovered India means. India was here only, and the people were here only, and we were living happily. So that kind of things they have done to India. And the unfortunate thing was that they knew how strong Indian educational system is. The system of our gurukuls, the system of our texts. So they targeted these things, the British. They simply destroyed everything which India was at strength. I would not go into the details because it's a short discussion, and when we start discussing it will take hours and days, because it comes out from the bottom of my heart when we discuss that. So, but the most unfortunate thing we had in our history, that when we got our freedom, the people who got the chance to govern India after our independence, we were free by government, that now we have our government, but these people were not free of in terms of ideology, because they have a colonial mindset. So we used to follow whatever British told us. We used to following study the same history which they created. And even I would like to share one more example. I was kind of proud to be an Indian from since my childhood due to various reasons. But in class 9th, in my history lesson, my teacher once told us in the classroom that the North Indians, they are not actually Indians, and they came from outside, from some reason. And they are Aryans who just pushed the Indians to the South India area. So that was the story embedded. Then I was, means I, my belief was shaked. Means what I am being proud of, I am not that. So that kind of things were inculcated in Indian textbooks, which students in the early age were reading. And why did they do that? Because India, the strength of India, the basic strength of India was that we used to love our motherland as a nation. We used to love Bharat, and we could sacrifice, we did sacrifice anything for our country, for our nation. So they attacked the very concept of the nation. They told us that you were never a nation. You were just a group of colonies, different colonies. You were never a complete nation ever. And the very people who say that they love this nation are not the native, are not the original Indians, actually, the North Indians and whatever. So they created differences between the Indians only. And then discussions went on various levels. But when people like you, I would like to say, sir, that you are doing a wonderful work. When people like you start working on the real history of India, then, and fortunately, BJP, Bharatiya Janata Party, came in power in 2014. Then we started telling the people the true history of India. People were always interested to know the truth, but there was no one to tell the truth because government was of the colonial mindset, and they were much more interested in telling their convenient lies to the people because they were interested in ruling only. They want to always become friends to many governments in other part of the world. So they were ready to do anything to please them. But now we have Shri Narendra Modi ji as our Prime Minister, who believe in the originality, who believe in the, means whoever you are, means whatever country you live in, whichever nation you belongs to, you have your own. Every nation has its own soul, its own very basic things. So everything you do in your nation, every laws you make, every steps you take in your country must be based on the fact that how your country is, how your culturally, how things are, uh, environmentally, how things are. But they were, due to the colonial mindset, they were just following some other part of the world blindly. So that was the most unfortunate thing we had. But now people are getting, and same that you are telling, the mythology part, that was the part of that strategy only. The strategy I was talking about, that they changed the educational facts in our textbooks. So they proved whatever history we believed in. The history, I would like to say, you know it very well, that in every household, without going to any school or college, we knew our history. Mahabharata, Ramayana, it is a part of our daily lives, that we used to discuss, used to listen these textbooks, discuss these textbook characters, how, who was bad, who was good, and the lessons we get from our history, that what kind of actions you should not take in your life, what kind of character you should carry, that kind of lessons. But they completely destroyed it. They completely shattered it by saying that it's a myth. It's your imagination. So that was also a part of that strategy. So we already knew our history, but in the in between the period we for you will say more than a century, more than centuries, we used to know our history, but we used to believe that it's an imagination. Not everyone, but a major part. But now the youth in India, now they know what's their real history is. And even the facts which we were not facts, the lies which we were given to us, that the Aryan invasion theory and all that, that has been that has been very clear now that it was just a theory of a couple of historians without any base, without any logic. So it's very clear now, and people are very not in India, even all over the world. People are very interested in know what Indian history is, and I would like to congratulate all people who are working in that area, who are working in that direction, because it's very important to know your real history, what kind of land you live in, what kind of nation you have. Then only you can take the future decisions, the future steps, the future direction. Because if your basics are wrong, how can you go in the right direction? You will always be in wrong direction. However, how doesn't matter how hard you work.
That's right. No, the very interesting points, and I think there's a very stark difference. There was one prime minister who was doing Bharat ek Khoj, he was searching for Bharat, and another one who lived in Bharat and he established Bharat. The stark difference. I am a big fan of Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi, and what he has done to India is remarkable. Now, coming to another part, now you just mentioned the Aryan invasion theory, Aryan migration theory. Now, in my book and many other authors, like I don't, and generally I don't read, but other authors other than Vyasdev and Valmiki. But the most of the authors have come to the same conclusion that the invaders, like the Iran, today's Iran, and earlier it was called Persia, Zoroastrian country. Now, that country was also part of Bharatiya civilization, Hindu civilization. Otherwise, why will they, when the Islam attacked them, Islamism attacked them, and then they all ran to India. Today, they are known as Parsis in India, which is a Sanskrit word, which is Persia comes with Sanskrit word Parsik. And so total time they stayed in India, including Babur, they used to attack and go back, attack and go back. They didn't like to stay here. It was too hot for them because they were all coming from Central Asia. So the actual time they actually stayed in India was 135 years. And that is called Mughal rule, which is Mongolian Mughal rule. And so 1857, India was freed from there, and 1947, India was freed from British rule. Now, between 1857 and 1947 is all the game happened. All these things happened. The 1901 education policy of India, which was given by the British government, and also the caste policy, upper caste, lower caste, was also done by Harpert Hope Priestley. That was again a British anthropologist. So a lot of these things are there. I would say it is a great fortune of India. Like, we have still retained our culture. If you look at Native Americans and South Americans, where the same colonizers were there on the behest of the Vatican Church, now those civilizations are wiped out because they had no documentation. Here, our traditions, our Vedas, our Puranas, our Mahabharata, Ramayana saved us. Now, this is the history. Now, coming to the current times, the youth. Now, the biggest colonizer now is a TV, starting from Hollywood and American media channels, where the news is an entertainment in itself. It's no longer news now. It is entertainment. You can see all our CNN stars. I call them stars now, and CNN or Fox News stars. They are all dressed up, and it's a show. And they are saying, like, the a lie repeated 1,000 times becomes truth. That's a mindset they have. How is that affecting the youth in India. Because when you take investments from such corporations into India, then the narrative builds according to the person who puts the money in. You know, there is a very famous mantra of US is that the when the money talks, bullshit walks. So, so what is your view on this?
Yeah, you are absolutely right, and we have that kind of stuff in India also. That kind of the stars you have on CN. So, and they did their part in the past. They did the part in destroying the very thing, the very basic essence of the nation. They just played their part, uh, maybe because of money or something. But in right now, I would say that 60%, 65% of Indian population is under 35. So we are the youngest country in the world. And I would like to say that our youth, it's intelligent. Our youth know what is right and what is wrong. Our youth has the capability to understand that what is being told to them, it is truth, it is truth or lie. So India is a India is in that situation right now that these the CNN kind of channels in India that don't have such big impact in India right now. They are doing their best. They have the funding and everything. They are doing their best. But whatever our present government is doing, whatever work is being done, that is always leaving behind all the propaganda thing. Whatever, however funding they have, it doesn't impacting too much to us these days. So I would say that it's fortunate that we have such kind of youth who can understand what is right and what is wrong. And I would also like to say that the delivery means whatever this government promised, they delivered. So youth can understand that what are being told to them. The government is very stick to the delivery. They are not just saying it; they mean it. What they are saying, they mean each and every word what they're saying. So even in our when we go for elections, when we went for elections in 2019, again to for the prime ministerial thing. So the opposition was questioning us on doing certain things, like you did that, you did that, you did that, and the main thing of our campaign that we did what we said that we do when we come to power. So we are so our government is so stick to the words that even the complaint of the opponents is just that you are doing it, you are doing these things what are being promised. So I would like to bring few examples of that thing. So Kashmir, you know, right? So Kashmir is an integral part of India, and but the half of the Kashmir is under the Pakistan, the POK, Pakistan occupied Kashmir. So in the part which currently governed by India, there is a law that they can means there will be a separate flag for J&K. All the central rules will not apply in J&K and many things. And was a law 370, and we were we were just following it since independence due to some kind of treaty between two people for their selfish goals. So no one in past 70 years went to the very means to understand what this law says and why to keep it. And when our parliament went to do the to go for the legal aspect of these laws, It was a very, very weak law, and very unfortunate for India that we went for 70 years with that law. And what it did, that it always kept Kashmir out of the picture, that India was traveling the development scenario, but Kashmir was always out of picture of that thing. So just to appease a particular bunch of people, just to appease few friends, and just for some selfish goals, politicians did that, and that was unfortunate. And when we were contesting elections in 2014, our government, the Bharatiya Janata Party promised that when we come to power, we will do that, and we did that. And then opposition came to say that you did that. So that's what we said, that yes, we promised to do that. People chose us for that, and we did that. Yeah, that's what should happen, right? So I would like to say that the propaganda thing, now they are not so strong in India. They are, because even if you see the last scenario when we just removed the 370 thing, there were protests all over the country when we gave refuse to people from the minorities from our neighboring countries, which were being persecuted because of their religion. We gave refuse to the minorities of these countries like Pakistan, Bangladesh. Then there was a protest all over the country. That protest was very, very well exposed, that it was funded by some foreign foreign funders and some propagandists. And in India, there were many news channels, news figures, big figures, who were just helping them to make India destabilize, to create chaos across the country. So they were doing that, but the majority of youth in India, they understood, they they read it themselves, that what CAA is. And when you read it, you understand that, yeah, it's right. What's wrong in that? So they can understand that, they understood, and it was all okay. Even after they pushed, the propagandists pushed their strong forces, funding, everything, they just tried, but ultimately the truth won, right? So that is the current situation in India. There are forces, strong forces with funding, but yes, our youth is capable. Our youth has a strong belief in our prime minister, that he will do the right thing. He will not do the wrong to anyone, and that is the very basic character of any Indian. That is all our history, Mahabharata and Ramayana taught us.
If you look at the world history, total world history, the entire destruction of the world native cultures began in 1492. And 1492 is 1493 and 1492 were the papal bulls issued by the Vatican to conquer or enslave the people for their faith. That's in my last book, Gold, Glory, and God. In detail, I've captured it. The same methodology came to India. To the only purpose, number one was gold, because Europe was very poor. Second was glory of the church, and the God means their God. But when they came to India, they were struck with a Vedic wisdom. And before that, Marthanda Varma was the first king in South India, 1741. And there are numerous other kings in South India, Northeast India, who fought vehemently to defeat them. Except the Mughals, they did not fight. In fact, Jahangir used to get women and clothes from Europe, and that's how he gave the entire wealth to the Dutch East India Company, which was bigger than the English East India Company. Now, this is the recorded history, and which is unfortunately not being taught. And also, when people say, like I said, that 1,000 year of Mughal rule is not a fact. It's only 135 years, because and that too it was in parts. Like they would not move out of the fort. And one of the things that they did was disarm the citizens so that nobody fights with them. Second thing was horses were not allowed. Hindus were not allowed on horses. Otherwise, they'll fight. And third thing was Mahabharat was banned by the British in 1901. And that was spread that if you keep Mahabharat at home, it creates clash, because they were scared if anyone reads Mahabharat and reads Bhim and Arjun and other people, they're going to fight like them. And that was the main reason why they banned it. And the fourth thing they banned was Kalari Payattu. Now, people all over the world know that, in fact, the Korean, South Korean dojos, which is Taekwondo, they treat India as their home. And if you go to South Korea, then they have a deep respect for Indians, because Taekwondo, Judo, Karate, all three are three different aspects of Kalari Payattu, were taken there in three different forms. The sitting post. So anyway, I won't go into the martial arts tactics. So this is how the culture of India has influenced all over the world. But in India, we are not taught. Still today, people think that keeping Mahabharata at home creates clash, whereas Mahabharata at home actually gives them strength to fight any other. Dharma doesn't mean religion. Dharma doesn't mean religion. Dharma means any commonsensical act for the maximum benefit of people. So what is your view on this propaganda, and how we, as a youth icon, you can debunk this propaganda? Because if our Indian youth learns this, I've myself written two books that are published now in India from Indian Kapoth publishers. One is Yudhishthir, one is Sri Ram, or One Arrow, One Kill. So how does this kind of, taking the youth to a next level, like making them freedom from, like, just like Neeraj Chopra. By the way, Neeraj Chopra is in San Diego this time, when as you're talking. So he's practicing in the American Olympic thing, where he's practicing for his next championship. So I'm from San Diego. So here in San Diego, he's there right now, Olympic Training Center. So how does the Indian youth, how do you debunk this propaganda and let Indian youth take up the real side of the Indian culture, which is inspired by Mahabharata, Ramayana?
Okay, so I'd say that this is the right time to do that. First of all, why is that? Because as I already told you, that 65% of our population is under 35, and the youth of India, they have a tendency that they question anything which they think that it's not right or it's not complete. They have a tendency to question the wrong, to question the system, to question the religion, to question everything. And they question that thing also, that whatever the rituals we have, right? They questions everything. They want to know the logic of whatever we are doing. So now what we have to do, which I know few personalities who are doing a wonderful work in that direction. We need to tell them the logic which Sanatan Dharma has given very clearly, right? So even when I meet young activists of our party, of Bharatiya Janata Party, even to the remotest part of the India, I used to tell them that whatever you want to preach, whatever you want to tell people, that you should be like that, right? Sanatan Dharma is like that. If you want to tell these kind of things to anyone, before doing that, you must be a follower. Follower means you must be following the Sanatan Dharma. You must inculcate Sanatan Dharma in your own life, because when it's if you you just teach anything, like I say that you must do yoga, and I start teaching it. I start telling everyone you should do yoga, because Sanatan Dharma tells that it's a good thing to do. You must do yoga. So no one would listen to you, right? You need to tell them. You need to tell them that how yoga is beneficial to you. You need to tell them that I am I am a follower. I am doing the yoga for certain period, and these are the benefits I got. These bunch of people are doing yoga, and these this is the difference between the lives they are living and the life which other peoples are living. So you need to be brand ambassador of whatever you are preaching, right? If you are telling that you should follow Sanatan Dharma for a better life, and by telling this, I must clear it that by telling that you follow Sanatan Dharma, it's not like that it's a kind of religion conversion, because in India or anyone anywhere, even if you believe in God, if you believe in some other form of God, any form of God, you can still be a Sanatani Hindu without being strict to, like, if you follow that particular rule only or that particular god only, then only you can be a Hindu. So that kind of freedom, that kind of flexibility is there, because the Sanatan Dharma has understanding that whatever you want to achieve, there are lakhs of ways to do that, right? So it's not like some other religions which say that if you believe in this, then you are right. Otherwise, you don't have even the right to live. So that kind of flexibility, that kind of understanding of things we have here. So to debunk these kind of things, what we need to do, as I am national office in charge of Bharatiya Janata Party, which is I already told you, the largest political party in the world. Every youth leader must be an icon, must live it themselves before going to the people to tell it, right? You should know it. You should be a brand ambassador of Sanatan Dharma. You should be a brand ambassador of Hinduism. If you follow it, if your life is in live example of what Sanatan Dharma is, then it will bring much more change, much more effectively it will work than just telling few words, telling few paragraphs, writing something. That is what I believe in. Second, when I say that youth believes in logic, youth wants logic, and it makes our work more simpler, because when somebody is looking for logic, then it's simple to make them understand, rather than when you are in a mindset of just blindly following some kind of thing. Like, so again, we are talking like the Aryan concept and the caste system concept, all these things. So that is what I believe in. That they need logic. You provide them logic. You provide them the real, plain Sanatan Dharma to them without any modification. You must be a live example yourself as a youth leader. Then it would be a big impact in whole country. There you will see more and more live examples following you. So I would like to take one name who is doing a wonderful work in that direction, and that he's Sadhguru. Sadhguru is doing a wonderful work in that direction. He is preaching the truths of Sanatan Dharma to every corner of the world, to every corner of India, and his mainly followers are youth, and that is a very very positive sign for India, for Bharat. And one other change I would like to acknowledge here, I would like to tell you here that the our political party, the Bharatiya Janata Party, it's old, it's also working on that direction. I will give you one example. So our national president of Youth Bharatiya Janata Party is Tejasvi Suryaji from Bangalore South. He's a member of parliament from Bangalore South. He's just 30-year-old. So you see that Bharatiya Janata Party is believing on youth. Our 14 MPs are under 35. So they are believing in youth. They are believing that youth will direct, youth will lead what the direction which nations need to take. So our national president Tejasvi Suryaji, he's a uh, believer in Hinduism, believer in Sanatan Dharma, and he's not just a believer; he's a live example also, because he is a live example of how a Sanatan Dharma follower should be. Right? He only believes in facts and logics. So if you tell the problems we used to have in our childhood, even that if your parent tell you some ritual that you should do that, we used to ask questions why we should do that, and it came into practice. Nowadays in India, now parents are getting to understand that you must have some kind of answer whatever you are doing, right? Otherwise our youth will not follow. So you have to find these answers in Sanatan Dharma, then only you can ask them to follow, right? So the clear funda is, again, I am just concluding that you need to give logic whatever you are telling, and you must be a brand ambassador. Whatever you are telling, you must follow it. Only words will not work now. So that is what we are doing right now. That is what we are trying to build. We want to make more youth as brand ambassadors of our Sanatan Dharma, and that is the way actually. Aditya.
So one of the best things Prime Minister Modi did was giving Bhagavad Gita as a gift to world leaders, and that also inspires us that we should also read it. And then, so once, without tasting the honey, you don't know the sweetness of honey, and that is an inspiration for our youth to read it. Generally, in the Indian media circles and Indian social circles, when you are talking about that somebody is reading Bhagavad Gita or Mahabharata is not cool, or he is backward, that is a narration which is created, which is a colonial narrative, that what Macaulay and Max Muller said, that anything Western single line is greater than all the Vedas put together. That's what he said in the British Parliament. Now, when we make it uncool, look at the TV shows. TV shows are the biggest way to create youth mindset. When you have Bollywood stars or these people, they act in that way, where they make fun of a Pandit, where they make fun of anything Hindu with a tilak. They show them as backward, funny, not attractive to women, for boys. And similarly, they make women also not attractive to people who are traditional. So this is again a colonial ploy to make people move away from Sanatan Dharma, like you mentioned also. So what is the youth we have to, what you should do in India to make it attractive again, where it is a cool factor? Everyone talks about the American cool factor. Cool means that you are rebelling in America, like you are going against the American society norms, then you're cool. And like nowadays, the latest fashion was slashing the eyelids, so just keeping a half eyelid. That was a cool thing in USA. When will in India, like Bhagavad Gita and Mahabharata, this becomes a cool factor? Like Modi jacket has become a cool factor. You're wearing a beautiful one, and so how is that you going to make a cool factor, or which is incurrent?
Okay. So to understand that thing. First, we need to understand means how these things work. What is a cool thing to do? So, whenever you are influenced by something, right? Whenever you see someone or something above where you are, you used to follow it. So that's why we always say that whenever there is someone, some other foreign country who is ruling on some country, they culturally invade also, because they they used to dominate everything, and whatever they do, people used to think then this is the cool thing, or this is the best thing to do. So whatever clothes the rulers used to wear, they used to wear these kind of clothes. Whatever they used to eat, they follow. So these kind of things uh, goes ahead. So in India, what this is my personal opinion, that what should be done, and it's being done. That you have given example of our Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi ji. So he has done a great work for this country, right? So I will give you one more example from my college life. People, when I'm an engineering graduate from computer science. When in my college days, people used to say that we will move ahead, we will move outside, we will go abroad after we finish our graduation. We will work in some company in some country like US, and we will leave the country because it's not means we should not be here. We don't deserve to be here. We are better than what India is. So these painful thoughts I used to listen often in my college days, when there were some people who were ruling India, because under the impact of the colonial mindset. But when Narendra Modi ji became prime minister, and it's been 7.5 years almost. Now the things have changed. Now people have confidence on our country. They have more confidence in themselves. They're proud to be an Indian, not just in India. Even the people who are living in some foreign country abroad, they proud to be an Indian. Now they feel proud to tell people that yes, I belong to India, which is the richest culture, which is the oldest history in the world, which is the biggest country, and we can proudly say that our nation never ever invaded anyone. Our We never killed a single person in the world to invade or to spread our religion, to invade a foreign land. We never killed a single person for that. And I would say proudly that in the whole world, there is no other country who can say that. So I can proudly say that. So what we need to do actually, we need to, like Narendra Modi ji did, that he presented a Gita gift to a world leader. So it was a very smart move, because the people who follow Narendra Modi ji, like us, he gave a message that you should read Bhagavad Gita. It's your history, and people who follow you, who is being influenced by you, who is you are an inspiration to someone. When whatever you do, it's the cool thing for them to do, because you are icon for them. You are the person they look at for everything. How how uh, you walk, what kind of food you take, what kind of clothes you wear. So these kind of things. So then it goes to the very roots of any country. So Narendra Modi ji is doing that thing. One more example I would like to give you, that there is a 9 days fast in India on the occasion of Navratri. So earlier, earlier it was people were doing it. Yeah. So that is the uh, thing that people were doing it, but most of the people in India, they did not know why are they doing that, the 9 days fast. But so when youth uh, question that why should I do that, and there was no answer for that in a particular period of time, then people just stopped doing that, right? Following that thing, having the fast. But when Narendra Modi ji was prime minister and he was on a trip to US, that was Navratri time, and he did not skip a single fast. Even when he was in US, he was traveling, and he was for 9 days he was just having hot water and honey, right? And he was working effectively. He was working day and night, and he was active. He was full of energy and everything. So when you provide such kind of examples, when you provide logic, and these fasts, the Navratri fast, that's based on logic. That's not just a hollow ritual that you should do that. That's not like that. That's a very strong logic behind that. That it helps you to regenerate your body cells in that particular time in India, because of your environment and many things. So these kind of things, and like the if you say the clothes, even if you say the language is very I would like to talk about it, because earlier time in India there was a thing that who can speak English is intelligent. That kind of narrative was built, that if you can speak English, good English, you are intelligent. If you cannot speak good English, you are not intelligent, right? You are some kind of very low grade person. That kind of mindset was there. But you language is a way to communicate. It's a very basic logic, and you must know some other language. You must be good in some other language, and you must be good in your subjects, right? You must be good in science. You must be good in maths. You must be good in some other work, some skills you must have. You can have, but still, that was the basic mindset that if you don't know English, you are just a low grade something, which are very uh, bad. And speaking English is cool, right? If you even if you don't know anything significant and you can speak good English, you were respected. It was a cool thing. But the when our Prime Minister Atal Bihari Vajpayee ji, uh, he went to UN and he addressed in Hindi. It was a cool thing. Then people started to think that why Atalji addressed in Hindi, and is it not embarrassing to address the people in Hindi? Then when these questions come to your mind, then you will think about these questions, and then you come to conclusion. No, both are languages. Hindi is also a language. English is also a language, and if you can speak any language very well, you must be on the same level, I think, and you must be equally respected to know any language, right? So that kind of examples you need to put. So again, I'm coming to the same conclusion that whatever you want to tell people, just not say hollow words that you should do that. You must be an example. So uh, the leaders of our country, they must be the role models for that. They must follow what should be told to the youth of this country. Yes, you're right that Bollywood stars. and these are influencers, and whatever they do, people wants to do that. Yes, they are, and they are under some influenced by some propagandist, the film industry, and they have funding also from the foreign, so they do whatever the script is. They just want to earn money. They work like that only. But what we need to work on in that direction also, in the art and cinema field, we need to put more uh, true history content, which is being done, but we need to pace it up, we need to do it more. And but the main thing is what I believe in, that you work for people, right? You dedicate your life for in the service of people, and people respects you, then you are a role model for these people, and you have a responsibility to tell them what is the right way to live, right? Right way to live, it means you are free to live however you want, but you must tell them this is the best way to do, this is the best thing for you to do. And whatever you choose consciously, with the understanding that this is wrong. Even if you're doing something wrong you want to do, but you must know that like like for an example, uh, smoking, for many people, they just smoke because it's cool to look like that, because some influencer do that, right? Or in some movie they have seen someone who was a hero of that movie or something, and he smokes like in style, so it becomes cool for them. So even if they want to do that, they must have the understanding that how impactful it is, and whatever they must do it consciously. So it should not be uh, it should not be a propaganda driven thing, right? That which puts in their mind, in their subconscious. So whatever they do, they must do it consciously. For that, you need to put the very basic, very simple truth in front of them. Then they need to choose what direction they have to take. Yeah.
You know,
Aditya.
very long, detailed answer. Was last question, and I'll ask more about your computer science background and other things. So in the when you were doing engineering, you have definitely seen the student life at a very close quarter. And today's when I see the Indian students, especially from JNU, talking with the American media, American campus narrative, which again, understand one thing, for Americans, everything is theoretical because they are not living. I mean, Native Americans are wiped out from this country. So everybody is either a European American or an Asian American, or some pre-qualification title has to be there. There's nobody true American, because the true Americans are just 5 million left. And actually, luckily, in last 2 years, their population has increased to 7.5 million right now. I don't know how come it's such a big difference. Maybe the recalculation was wrong, but it is 7.5 million. And so now American media narrative is all based on humanities and equality and all those kind of things. So the Indian students, because the Indian campuses try to get the validation from the American campuses, Indian students unofficially buy that entire logic. Like, for example, wokeism. Wokeism was a campaign by the Black African Americans and the minorities to claim their rights. In India, it's the reverse. In India, the non-native population has more rights than the native populations. So how do you stop this miscommunication? Like the English translators are also totally wrong. Secular in the USA means freedom from church. That's a basic meaning. Like the left in the US means a communist philosophy. and also means cancel culture, which is, so the cancel culture was all about destroying or protecting the native identity. But India is exactly opposite, destroying the native identity. So how do you fight the narratives as a youth?
So you are right. And
I'll just add one more thing. Liberal in the US means who is free from church, that is liberal. Conservative in the US means a church member. So totally different meanings in India.
okay. So you give example of JNU, right? So I means you must be already knowing, and the JNU was formed for that purpose only by the Congress to cultivate the left ideology there, the communism, the hardcore communism there, the extreme communism. So it was formed there to protect them, to give them a platform, and that is being followed for many years, from decades, I would say. So yes, so if you, I would like to discuss the things one by one. So first of all, let's talk about secular. So the main problem in India is, for if it's being secular, or it's being what you were saying, that more rights to the minority, and still they are complaining that they are being wrongly treated, and these kind of things we have seen in the anti-CAA protest, and many other things. You must be seeing in the international media also, the propaganda people do that. So I would say that it was being added in Indian constitution it was not an original part of Indian constitution. Through an amendment in the constitution, modification in the constitution, it was added by our our prime minister, former prime minister Srimati Indira Gandhi ji. And it was done just to appease a bunch of people, to a community. And why did they do that? Because they wanted a safe vote bank. So what they did, they just uh, told them that you are not safe, and we are here to save you. And that's they are forcing secular in the constitution to provide you equal rights, and you are not getting equal rights. They told them. But I would like to say that the real, in Indian terms, the meaning, the secular meaning, that is what I'm talking about. That everyone has equal rights. Every religion has equal rights, and the right to preach its religion, and they can tell that how good their religion are. They can do that. So that is secularism: freedom for every religion, equality for everyone, for every religion. So now I would like to tell you then that Hinduism, the Sanatan Dharma, is the is already so secular, because we believe that if even if you want to find God, if you want to walk on the path, on the spiritual path, to find the God, like people do in church, by following the Catholic thing, and the people who follow Islam. So Sanatan Dharma understand that there can be multiple ways. That's why whoever came to India, whether it's Christians, whether it's Islamic people, we welcomed everyone, because we knew, Sanatan Dharma knew, that yes, Christianity is also can also be a way to go to the destination, to know the truth. Yes, Islam can also be the way to know the truth. So we believe in exploration. We believe, and this is the most liberal thing, I believe, that if you come up with some concept that this is the way, to do, and we have the capability, we have the uh, broad-mindedness to accept that yes, it can be a way. Let's explore this. So that kind of attitude Sanatan Dharma has. That's the main strength of Sanatan Dharma is we never we never ever needed that secular word in our constitution, but it was done by some selfish motives, and on the name of secularism, more appeasement happened in our country. That's why now you are saying that minority has more rights. Yes, it has. And we had a prime minister in India who used to say that minorities has the first right on everything our nation has. So I don't understand when someone has the more right or the first right on anything, then what kind of equality it is, right? It's not equality. And when you say equality, you you forget many things due to your propaganda, due to your selfish motives. So I would like to quote one Swami Vivekananda's messages that equality is a debatable concept. What do you mean by equality? Like all human beings are different, right? All human beings are different. You when you talk about equality, you actually cannot compare like there are two people, one is physically stronger and one is wiser. So whenever you have a physical work to do, the the physically stronger one must do that, right? And whenever you have some kind of work which involves intelligence, then the wiser man should do that. So it's not equality. And if you go for equality, like no, I will do the, I will do both work and you will do both work. So you know what would be the consequence. So the main thing is not equality; it's the unity. It's the acceptance. Yet we can be different. I can think differently. You can think differently. You may have some different strengths, different weaknesses. I may have some different strengths, different weaknesses. And we must accept that, yes, we can have differences. But even despite of all these differences, we have the unity. We know ultimately that we are just one. That's the main thing. So I think unity is much bigger than equality. That because when you forcefully go for equality, you just do not have the capability to accept the differences, and you cannot expect everyone to be equal, right? I may have some, even if you talk about two people, two nation, two religion, to any two sects, any two communities, any two groups. So equality is not the means right aspect to make them one. Unity is the thing, because even you are different, you can have the unity. You can work as one. You can be each other's strength, right? By giving support when your weaknesses drag you down. So that is the thing that you should work on, unity, right? So that is one thing. And the liberal thing you said, that so I don't think anyone can be more liberal than Sanatan Dharma. So because you whatever you want you can wear, whatever you want you can do, whatever path you find more suitable to you, you can follow. Okay. So it's more liberal, because in some religions you have seen that even if you say a word about their god, the god they follow, they will kill you. So I don't understand if this is equality, because if you say something about them, you question what they believe in, you don't have the right even to live. So I don't think this is the equality. Kind of, this is the liberal thing, and the propagandists. What we were talking about, the JNU people, the people like who were the people like you were pointing out in JNU. Not every JNUite do that. I have respect for many of them, but the people who do that, they find it cool. They don't have any objection in that. That somebody can be killed for questioning a belief. It is cool for them. They have no objection in that. But they have every objection, whatever Sanatan Dharma has, whatever Bharat's original uh, culture has, they have problem with everything. They find problem with everything original, everything native. So that's the propaganda they are driven with. So I think yes, you are right, and in that aspect that both nations think differently. And secular is I am just wondering. It's funny actually, the secular thing. It's funny because by if you see the constitution, India is the only secular country in the world, right? So we were already secular. That's why everybody came to us, right? And we accepted, we welcomed everyone, right?
Yeah, we welcomed them and they looted us. So that's how it happened. Now, the last point, you mentioned many things here, many things, and I think we are running out of time now. But the last point which I would like to say, see, everything in the West, the definition is exactly opposite in India. Like that, in India it's a narrative. In the West is literal. Like the left and right means, left means opposing the government, which is the French philosophy. Right means for the government, and it keeps changing with after election. Every election it keeps changing. So if the somebody other party is in the power, their supporters are automatically right, and the opposition becomes the left. But in India, it's a permanent left and permanent right. It's same problem in the US also. Permanent left, permanent right. But if you look at the original definitions of the left, pro monarchy were right in French Revolution, opposite of monarchy were left. So I have coined a phrase: we are neither left nor right. We're dharmic, because dharmic is a central position. But when somebody says that I am the left or I am the right permanently, that means they don't understand the political philosophy actually right there.
Yep.
So
Yep.
a lot of mistranslables there, and I think that is a big work need to be done by youth leaders like you to educate. And also on the equality side, which is quoted Vivekanand, I would like to quote Bhagavad Gita there, where it says, karmanye vadikaraste, like everyone has an equal right to perform karma, and that is the only thing given to human beings. That's the only right we have. So which is the equal opportunity right there. Everyone has a right to do their karma. So then if we all build a society like that, it's a more positive and productive society, which can really help in Purusharth. But thank you so much for coming today, Vineetji, and a very best for you from the Sattology team in India as well as in the West.
Thank
So
you so much for inviting me. Thank you. Thank you.
namaste and thank you.